What did you want to say?
The new Doom came out.
Okay.
And you know what?
What?
It's kind of bad.
It's not good?
I see Jesus fell off the other K.
They can't see that. It's behind that Jesus fell off a long time ago.
This is before and after Christ.
This is not
so the new Doom.
Yeah.
I don't care about the story.
You're all excited.
I'm always excited.
Doom doesn't really have much of lore. It's just
Yes, it does.
really
1, 2, in 64 Doom.
1, 2, then 64.
Yeah. Doom 64, they made 64.
It's the same math that goes in your ratings.
Yeah, it does. So this takes place after the Nintendo 64 one when he escapes hell. But apparently he gets picked up by like Sentinels. We'll call them aliens.
Like the X-Men robots?
Yeah, pretty much. And the start of this game, they're like, send the guy. There's like a war happening. Hell opens portals and shit like normal. Just a normal day.
Typical
day in Doomland. And the Sentinels,
Sounds
these
like a bad
aliens,
theme park.
these aliens were like, send them in. And they beam him down. And I was like, what? So he's like enslaved by aliens or something. And so he's fighting their alien war.
Oh, this takes like place in like medieval times.
Yeah, it's called Doom Dark Ages. I don't know, but it's a prequel to like the last 2 Dooms, which were amazing.
You're not vibing.
But I don't know.
Eternal was pretty fucking
I
fire.
don't care about the story on this one so far, and I'm on level 4, I think.
Do you play Doom for
And
the
it's so
story?
easy.
Do you play Doom for the story?
Not really. The music's great. It's too easy. I'm on the hardest difficulty. I'm saying that now, and it's only level 4, but like I'm like, can I just like jack this up, the difficulty? Like,
Why can't you?
not saying I'm like hella good. It's just like kind of easy for Doom. Because usually it takes me like
he's
50
a fucking,
tries.
like gamer, this guy over here.
Gamer. But it's okay. I'm just going to say it's okay for now. But it's probably really cool. And there's like 22 missions or levels, which is long. And I don't care for the shield either. There's like a shield you get. Don't care. Don't even like the look. Probably a great game. So, whatever.
Anyways, we're a horror podcast. We have a very special episode for
yeah.
you today. What the fuck are you on
We have
about?
a special episode today brought to you by 3, 2, 1.
Calling all killers, welcome all you kings, scream queens, and everything in between. This is the Kings of Kill podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Zach.
I'm Steven.
And together we are the
The
Kings of Kill. Thank you so much for joining in. Usually each and every episode is thanks to you, our killer fans. Request your own episode, anything horror related. I'll research it, he'll rate it. But today, we have a very special guest.
True.
Director of Self-Driver, Mr. Michael Pierro.
Yes. Thank you for not making me say it. I would have messed up the name, even though it's just Michael.
You're one. You can't
Michael
remember.
Pierro.
Nickel? No.
Yeah. We're interviewing Guy.
We're interviewing. Great job, bud. We're going to have him on our show right after this. Welcome back, killers. Proud to announce, director of the brand new Self-Driver. Welcome, Mr. Michael Pierro. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. You're calling from Ontario. Are you Canadian, sir?
Yeah, Toronto boy, born and raised.
Very cool. Is that where you shot your film?
Yeah, we shot it here. I mean, just sort of mostly out of necessity, but yeah, we shot it on the sort of late night streets of Toronto.
Perfect.
So
this is
Maple Leaf fan?
I'm not a big hockey guy, but most of my friends are huge into the team and are very stressed out right now.
Oh yeah, I bet. Playoffs are going south, so it's crazy.
He's a big Bruins fan. He's
they're like
rocking his hat right now.
Sadly, I'm a Bruins fan now. They took last. Terrible. All right, go on. I just needed to ask.
You said you shot at late night street Toronto. The look of this film is is phenomenal. One thing I got to give you kudos for. Now, not only are you director, but you're the writer, the producer, the editor, the cinematographer. One thing that I've got to say that I was really impressed with is the eye candy. Never does that camera get boring or lazy. There's a different shot to keep my mind focused. Well done, sir. Seriously.
Thank you so much. I mean, that means a lot. Just with the meager resources we had, that was a big thing I was worried about. But knowing that we were going to shoot a film that takes place entirely inside a car, I think the first question I got from anyone I sort of pitched the idea to was like, isn't that going to be kind of boring? So I really went out of my way to make sure we kept it interesting, and every scene we introduced new elements and have a slightly different view on it whilst maintaining the sort of deep inside the driver's perspective.
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, when your main set is the interior of a vehicle, and it's not like it's a Maserati or a Lamborghini, you know what I mean? This is just a driver's car, you know?
Just a shitty Toyota, yeah.
It's great, man. It's great. My sister's first ride was a shitty Toyota. I think it was phenomenal. Speaking of the car, I've got to say, not trying to give out any spoilers or anything, but is that AC vent eligible for a SAG card? One of my favorite characters of the entire show.
For sure. Yeah. Once I sort of in the writing process, once I figured that out and I figured the dynamic between the driver and the car, I feel like I was sort of off to the races and the shackles came off.
Yeah, for sure. And the dialogue was believable too. It's so easy. I'm not putting on the actor, but also big on the writer. When your dialogue isn't believable, if you don't believe people are speaking this way, it's really tough to fall into it. So it seemed smooth. It seemed very natural. You know, the driver, our main character, was quiet and shy when he needed to be. He was pissed when he needed to be. You know, it wasn't
over the top or anything.
No,
it was good.
Yeah, no, I think Nathaniel is sort of one of Canada's hidden gems at the moment, where I think he's due for a breakout, but I'm lucky enough to be a good friend of his, and he does whatever I ask. Whenever I have a movie, he's chomping at the bit to be in it. So
that's great.
I'm very grateful for that.
Steven was just swearing he saw him in something, but couldn't quite place it.
I can't figure it out, but he just looks familiar. That's all I was saying.
He's been in a handful of super indie Canadian films, and that's about it at the moment. But like I said, I think he's on the verge of a breakout. In my opinion,
I think he deserves it for sure. And he said you're buddies with him. Was this kind of like a friends and family project? I know this is your third motion picture.
This is my first feature film. I've made I've made a handful of very tiny shorts that no one saw, but this is the first feature I made. But yeah, it was very much a friends and family film. Nathaniel is a good friend of mine. We just hang out basically every week. And my producer, Key-Ray, is also a really good friend, and I've edited all the films that he's directed. So we've, spent 15 years collaborating, and so just pulling out every favor I possibly could to get this thing done.
You have to. A lot of people don't realize how time consuming and expensive it is even to do a bootstrap project.
Oh, totally.
So kudos for getting off the ground.
It's all consuming.
That it is. So we love independent horror here. We're sicker than shit of Hollywood. So we love it when some indie darlings actually get brought to light. How is it? Is it difficult? Is it a challenge to get a project like this in theaters, on screens, in DVDs, to downloading? What's that look like?
That's definitely been, I'd say, the hardest part, or at least the part that I was in no way prepared for. I think I have a decent set of technical skills, and I know how to write and work with actors, but I've never in a million years spent any time thinking about the business side of things. And so that alone was just a learning curve. But also a movie like this where there aren't any stars and I don't have a track record, it's definitely an uphill battle to just get people to pay attention and give a shit about it. It's so that was a challenge, and I'm grateful for every single person who sat down and watched it, and even more so for people like you who liked it enough to talk about it. And it means a lot. I think any indie filmmaker has gone through the same thing of just praying that there's an audience out there for the thing they do, and then when they find it, it's a blessing.
Oh, for sure. Well, I can tell all the killer fans that see if you can find Self Driver. It comes out in June.
Yeah, June 6th in the States. It'll be on, I believe, like Apple TV and Prime to rent.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
now when...
Yeah, and then we might have there may be a physical release coming a little later in the summer, but I don't have the details on that yet.
Okay, well, keep us posted. We'd love to give you a shout out.
Grab a copy.
Yeah. So what gave you the inspiration to this? Now, you're a montage early on in... Let's set up. This is about a driving career gone awry, right? We're not trying to give out too many spoilers, but that's a safe way to put this.
Yeah, I think it's the night, an Uber driver's night from hell is sort of the quickest log line, but it's more about the like obsolescence of labor and the precariousness of just humanity in the time we're living in, where everything is being taken over by corporatized robots.
We'll said a little more eloquently than me, but all right. I had a lot of fun with it. Now, so there's a montage early on in this film where you get the day in the life of like a Lyft or an Uber driver. Did you work like for a taxi company, for Lyft, for Uber, something like that, and at all? Because this seemed like nail in the head. I was anxious and pissed off when I was watching that montage.
I had anxiety. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky enough to say that I haven't had that shitty job in the past, but as I was writing it, I actually spent a lot of time lurking on the Uber and Lyft subreddits, just reading all these like poor drivers' nightmare stories. And I mean, everything that's in the movie is just sort of made up, but just sort of like trying to capture that energy of all these entitled people living their lives behind you, totally oblivious to the driver, the fact that there's a human in the car at all.
It's an actual person.
He's not a self-driving car yet. He's still a human being.
There's a scene in this where our protagonist goes to check on a young lady and goes to an alley filled with raccoons, and it made me think of, Steven, do you remember your old house when it was infested with raccoons and we had to fight them off with a skateboard and a Buddha statue? Don't make it weird. This is what we had. All right.
Yeah.
That's what you thought.
What city are you guys in?
We are in Northern California. We are right between. We're close to Sacramento, if that makes sense.
Okay, I didn't realize California was a big raccoon.
Oh yeah.
We live in the boonies. We're not.
There's a lot of raccoons.
Toronto is like it's infested. Toronto, you can't walk around anywhere outside the downtown core, and even the like hardcore downtown core does have some. But if you're sort of walking around a regular neighborhood after sundown, you're guaranteed to see a couple just hanging out.
One thing I got to say, when you were writing this, is soon the darker the film gets, you sprinkle in comedy to keep me. Because there's some grave situations that happen. Make no mistake, but you kept it just light enough so that I didn't get disgusted, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it was a really delicate balance for sure, and like I think the script was probably darker on the page, but there were sort of these spaces that were so absurd, and the movie, I think, I wanted it to take place in a universe that isn't quite our own. It's sort of like a step to the left of the actual universe we live in. So we can get away with these weirder things. And that just sort of opened the door to playing up some of the humor. And when we were shooting, I just sort of I was a big fan of letting the actors do what felt natural, as long as we got all the beats of a scene, and then we do one or two takes where I just sort of let them play and encourage them to do crazier things and go for a laugh. And as I was editing it, like that stuff really helped, break the tension when we needed to, and keep the audience, from being overly distressed.
One thing I always appreciate from a good director is the creative freedom to play around a little bit. A lot of times just from screwing off, playing around, seeing what is kind of in between the lines of a script, you can find some magic, and especially when you're editing, which that's what Steve does here. It sounds like a nightmare to me. I don't have the patience for it.
Sometimes it is.
But to get all that extra, juicy tidbits from the cutting room floor that maybe you haven't thought of, to find a good fit for it, that's got to be fantastic. How long did it take you, do you think, from getting inspired, getting a strip done, scrounging up some funds, and then saying, "All right, boys, let's go to work. Let's give this a shot." What was the begin to end cycle like?
I mean, the idea itself was one I'd had for like probably 5 or 6 years before I actually sat down to write it. But then I think from sitting down to write the script to shooting was a couple months. And then we shot it over maybe a month and a half, 14 days spread out over a month and a half, just for like,
that's quick.
We shot it mostly on weekends
yeah,
we had to be. When you have no money, you can't really afford to dilly dally.
But
yeah, so all told,
yeah.
Like from like sitting down to write the first draft to wrapping production was, I'd say, 6 months.
That's
and then
pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. No, I think it's because the idea was something bouncing around in my head for so long. I had all these ideas that it hadn't committed to paper, but once I sat down to like do it in earnest, it came pretty quick. And the movie is very like, it's sort of an easy structure to write. It's very episodic, and it has a very distinct, clear arc to this character. So there wasn't a lot of like experimentation to be had in terms of like plot and stuff like that. So it just sort of came out of me.
Yeah, it had a very digestible crescendo, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally.
What was the most difficult challenge getting this project together, and what was the most rewarding aspect of it for you?
Well, I mean, each phase had its own challenges for sure. There were a few nights or like mornings after a night of shooting, I'd come home and be like punch drunk from the evening and watching footage, just being like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why did I make a huge mistake? And so just getting the like gall to go out there and finish it at times was hard, because you don't know what you have, and you are so exhausted by, staying up late. And for me, just having all the different roles on my shoulders was something I didn't realize would take such a toll on me. But,
I bet, yeah.
That was for sure worth it. And then in the editing process, I think because I had to like take jobs in between to pay for my life and stuff, it was hard to keep the creative like flame alive when I take a few months off the edit to work on. I work as an editor up here on like a lot of Canadian comedies and stuff. So I'd spend like 3 or 4 months editing a sitcom, and then have to open up my project again and be like, where was I? What am I doing here? And try and reignite that initial creativity. So that was a challenge for sure.
I 1000% understand. It's a lot of people tell you, go live your dreams, be a rock star. Well, you got to eat some food too. You might have to do that
you got bills, right?
Yeah. You're an editor by trade?
Yeah, that's sort of after film school, that's the thing that I fell into, or I guess my most marketable skill was editing. So I just ended up doing that. And then like a decade went by when I hadn't made my own stuff, even though I knew I'd always wanted to. So I like went into this knowing like this is probably my only shot. If I don't make it myself, I'm not going to get that shot. But my bread and butter has been editing for a long time.
Okay. What was film school like?
I was, it's got its ups and downs, but I met some incredible people there, and a lot of people I still work with and are some of my best friends 15 years later. So
that's pretty cool.
It's, it was for that alone, and the like deep friendships and deep collaborations I've made from there. It was definitely, it was a privilege for sure.
Were you a bit nervous taking the leap? Like when you're a kid and it's time, all right, Am I going to go to work? Am I going to pick a school? I'm like, I'm going to film school. Were you a bit anxious about taking that journey, or were you gung ho passionate about it?
I think, in hindsight, it was like maybe overconfident, but in high school, I knew, right? Like, I knew that that's the thing I wanted. And if I didn't get into one of the bigger film schools up here, I would have been at a loss. And, it's a pretty competitive field. So, like, all the film schools only take a handful of students and thousands apply. So it was, like, in hindsight, a silly thing to put all my eggs in that basket, but I was very grateful that it worked out.
That's things like it's starting to work out pretty good for you. Do you have any future projects you're playing with? You want to keep those close to the chest? That's okay. But are you just trying to push this? You got some ideas you want to work on?
Well, I'm writing. I've got a script that we're gonna probably shoot this summer. Nathaniel is the guy who plays the driver in Self-Driver, is also in this one, and probably a few other familiar faces from Self-Driver. We've got a bit more money this time, so it's not all going on my credit card, but
that must be terrifying.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone else footing the bill.
Yeah, definitely.
Taking some of the pressure off.
Well, I'm super excited you're still working, still creating more projects. When you get closer to being done, feel free to come back on. We'd love to have you back. So you got out of film school. You became an editor because that was your strongest suit. Was this an idea that you were kicking around for a while? You said that you just had to get done, or were your shorts something you did after film school?
The shorts I did like in the few years after I'd graduated, and they're all very different from this. They were all sort of like mumblecore-esque relationship dramas, I guess.
Okay.
They were mostly, I think, experiments in just working with actors, which is something I didn't have a ton of experience in film school. So I was very excited by the idea of just getting together with actors and like playing around and having a reason to work with an actor. But, and then I guess probably about 8 or 9 years went by from my last short to when I started to work on Self-Driver, and just, life gets in the way. So your dreams get put on the back burner sometimes.
I was just having a conversation with someone that said, ruts can last decades long sometimes. You can have this like initial goal to like get something, calm it down, sad boy, easy. But like it can happen. Like you're minding your own business, you're trying to make a buy, and then you suddenly realize it's been 5-10 years. You said like 9 since you wanted to get this off the ground. It's amazing how time flies.
It's crazy, especially, you start working and then all of a sudden it's sort of the golden handcuffs. You're like, I can't afford, I've got a certain lifestyle now, and the idea of taking time off of my paying job to go do something else feels kind of crazy. And so when this came about, I had like 2 pretty good paying gigs that were 6 months apart. And I was like, I could hustle and try and fill that time, or knowing that I was getting paid well enough in these 2 sort of other times, I could take this 6 months and just do something purely for myself. And so I had that window and that deadline to make something happen, which is, I think, the only reason the movie actually happened. If I'd had sort of an infinite amount of time, it wouldn't have lit that fire the way knowing there's 6 months, and if I don't get it shot out in 6 months, then we're sort of screwed. Really helps me motivate.
That little bit of pressure, it's do or die, sink or swim.
Yeah, totally.
When you started editing this, like, because Steven here does all of our editing. You do a great job, but anyways, again, like I said, I don't have the patience for it. I just have a bunch of ideas that I yell at him, and he's like, dude, I got a week. What do you want from me? And is it overwhelming because you have to take so many takes? You have to experiment with like extra scenes, and maybe something doesn't work right. You got, there must be so much footage to go through. Like, I mean, hours upon hours upon hours more footage that you need, but you have to do that. It's part of the process to get the right shots. How daunting is it for a feature-length film like this?
I mean, I've done it so many times now just as an editor that I don't like, it's not daunting, but I think there is a lot. It's not, it is a sort of a big hill to climb, but having done it a handful of times now, it sort of feels, you sort of take one step at a time and you bite off, take little bites, and slowly but surely it builds itself. If you don't think about the gargantuan size of the task, and you focus at first on the minutia of just putting one shot after another, it fills out, and then a couple weeks later you've got your first assembly.
There you go. Now, when you're assembling the film, do you go in linear order, or do you kind of pick a favorite scene, or kind of like whatever you're feeling? Like, what's your process?
That's a good. I guess I try to go linearly, and then sometimes I'll come across a scene that I don't want to deal with yet. Sometimes there's like the bigger scenes that are like I know are going to be a problem, and if I'm on a roll, I'll just sort of skip those so that I can keep my momentum going, and then I'll come back to the ones that are a challenge when I'm feeling like mentally up for the task. When I'm working on other people's stuff, I sort of edit in the order it comes in, which is often like totally out of order from the narrative.
Whatever
you just sort of
get, yeah,
just trying to keep up with like production. You sort of they shoot one scene at a time, and I edit them as they come in, and then you get the sort of weird mishmash of a movie that you don't know if it makes sense until the very last day, and you get those final pieces.
When you're doing your daily job, your breadwinning job as an editor, is there? I don't throw anybody in the bus, but have you ever like worked on a project where you're just like dreading this? It's shit, and you have to do this to get your paycheck.
I mean, I've been lucky enough not to work on anything that I know is like total garbage, but there's definitely been times where I'm like, I've had a great experience with everyone I've worked with, but there are times where you're just like, I know I could have done better, which I think was a big motivating factor for me. Just it's like I should put my money where my mouth is and just make my own thing than complain about working with some of these people. But I think it's a challenge, but you sort of have to drink the Kool-Aid too. I think at any point, if you're going to do a good job, you have to believe that the movie can be good. And if you don't sort of internalize that belief, then you're not going to do your best job. The movie's is going to suffer, and you're not going to make it as good as it could be if you don't believe it can be great.
And I bet it'd be that.
So at a certain point in the process,
crew. Yeah,
100%. And so like, there's all these movies. Every movie, even the worst movie that you've seen, has people who absolutely love it and are convinced it's great, because you have to convince yourself that the thing you're working on is worth working on. So I think it's just sort of part of. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, someone's passion project, and like God love them for trying.
Yeah, we love independent horror, and we really try not to. I don't mind shitting on Hollywood because they have enough money.
Just Hollywood.
Yeah,
but like,
I mean, we just did a Weinstein movie, so we can shit all over that.
Go to hell. Yeah, no shit. But but when it comes to people that are actually passionate, you know what I mean? That like this isn't our day jobs. We do this for fun, man. So when we get the opportunity to shine some light on someone who actually gives a shit, you know what I mean, and actually makes a quality film that you can tell TLC went into.
This made me feel like I was watching Good Time again, or Cheap Thrills, because I had anxiety, and I was like, is this guy going to go home? Is he going to make it home? And I
don't know if he goes home.
I was like, this is like, I think their last name were like Saudi Brothers or something, those directors.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Uncut Gems. Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Anxiety. This is great.
Definitely. Yeah.
It felt
I watched all of the Safdie Brothers movies before we shot it, just analyzing how they amp up the anxiety. Those guys are masters at making you feel uncomfortable and like on the edge of your seat, and you don't even know why.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time just trying to dissect that and figure out why those films are so successful. And I tried to put a tiny bit of that in this one for sure.
I've heard it 1,000 times. We need steal from the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great. Yeah, I liked it. It made me feel, and that I don't know,
and he doesn't feel. He's incapable of it.
Anxiety movies, yeah.
I mean, that's
the
goal for sure. Always is to make something that makes people feel.
Yeah.
Hopefully, also think, but like I like the idea of just having a visceral emotion come out of a scene. So thanks. I'm glad it worked.
Phenomenal job. One of the best feelings ever. I've only done stage performances, but one of the best feelings ever is trying to when you and the crowd can share a raw emotion, no matter what it is. It could be dread, it could be humor, anything. If you can connect just for a second, oh man, there's no better feeling than that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is are you doing kind of like an independent circuit tour? Is there any, are you trying to find some like some cool drive-ins and stuff? Is there any chance where you can like host your own viewing party kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's been on my mind. We don't have anything on the radar yet, but I do want to try and get that off the ground. Yeah, so I'll keep you posted.
Oh, please do. Please do. Anyways, I thought you did a phenomenal job. Again, the editing is on point, the cinematography, and you were the cinematographer for this film. I love how you kept me captivated the entire time. So many times I see shots just go on for days, and that's what you're trying to do. Because some directors can pull it off. Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh shit, that's
which tied into the intro.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No, I was pleasantly surprised, and I was very impressed. Thank you so much for the screen. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys watching it.
So,
like I said, these little movies need cheerleaders, and so I am super appreciative to anyone who.
I don't look the best in the uniform, but I will wear it.
Number one cheerleader on the team. Yeah.
So about this project you can start working on this summer. Is there any teaser we can get about it? Any or you? I don't want to give away too much, but like, is this going to be sort of like in the thriller genre again?
Yeah, I guess it's sort of a vaguely supernatural thriller about two urban miscreants / scavengers who come across an object that they believe might give them magical powers. And so it's about the sort of muddy aftermath and the path of destruction these two kind of crazy characters leave, dealing with this thing that they think may make them like gods, basically.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, phenomenal work. Please, this is your chance. Plug yourself. Where can the killers find you? Find your work. Where they can find the film. All you, man.
Yeah, I guess just keep an eye out for it on VOD. June 6th is the date. So anyone interested in the film, check it out on Apple and or Prime. And yeah, fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Michael, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to be with you guys.
Thank you.
That was great.
We're back.
Hi. So typically when we have a guest on, we don't like review the work just in case we have any nuances with it. I really enjoyed the movie, dude.
It's actually a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Like I said, I thought it was like Good Time, and which I watched afterward. I watched Good Time and Big Thrills.
Yeah.
It made me feel anxiety, and it made me feel, so it did its job.
So we have no affiliation, but we're not making any pennies on this. But like, hey, June 6th on Amazon and Apple. Self-driver.
He said he watched the director's shit before that movie, and I knew it. That final scene when it zooms in, I was like, that is a shot by those brothers. I forget their name.
And that's how it starts, too, though.
And it starts
the whole film goes full circle. I don't want to give out spoilers, but the whole film goes full circle. I don't know if he ever goes home.
We don't know.
Someone's getting a divorce.
Well, that's a spoiler. Now they don't know he goes home. I'm going to have to beep all this.
Beep you. I had a really good time. I was pleasantly surprised. Actually, I felt so bad because we've gotten a couple of screeners before, and shout out to Scott for giving us the screener. But like my baby, my princess had a doctor's appointment.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
she's fine. It's a checkup. Relax. Don't be sad.
I was worried.
I would tell Uncle Steven if something was wrong with my sweet baby angel, motherfucker.
What I would be like, damn. I'll text him back after this top round.
God. You would. You heartless, bro. Anyways,
100% that's
I had to
real.
leave it because, like, I just in case something was wrong, she needed like a list of her meds and
It's
stuff.
like your divorce text. Go on.
I sent this motherfucker went to my wedding. All right, and
I was in the wedding.
Was the
not just
best
went to your wedding.
man didn't have a speech, nothing to say.
I
Whatever.
was told no speech.
It's fine. It was doomed to begin with anyway, right?
I was told no speech, so I'm not preparing shit. Just like all my notes for this.
Forever goes by. I'm getting split. I'm becoming a free man again, right? And he sends me this long, passionate, heartfelt paragraphs of what a good friend I am and all this bullshit. He's like, I finally wrote your speech, man. I'm like, I'm getting divorced. And your response was, ha, 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 ha. Like an 18-sentence laugh track. You son of a bitch.
It was funny.
It was really funny, actually.
Anyways, about some doctor or this movie.
So I had to leave it, and then I tried to. So I was like halfway through, and I tried to finish it, and I couldn't log back in, and I got super stressed. I'm like, God, I'm so unprepared for this interview, super unprofessional, right? And then so I go email Scott again, shout out for the hookup, and I'm like, hey, I need a new screener. I'm so sorry. He's like, just refresh it, just.
Idiot.
I'm not technically savvy. I do the microphone shit. You do the fucking fancy editing bullshit.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
I hate that works.
Every time.
I hate it.
Internet doesn't work, turn off back, just do your shit. Anyway.
You'd be a great tech support. Turn off back, do your shit. Was that a quote from
shit,
you?
You idiot. And then I hang up. It's great. I don't want to be tech support. It sounds boring.
You'd be awful at any support.
I'm just not a supportist. Is that what they call
Is
it?
that an ist? You mean not supportive? Or you're not good at what?
Supportist. Is that what they call it?
Who?
Someone that is doesn't fucking matter. That's the show.
How many tisms do you have, dude? What the hell
Too many
is going
tisms.
on? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to where the fuck this is. We appreciate you. Make sure to request your very own episode. Anything horror related, comics, games, films. We love indie darlings, love independent horror. If you're trying to get something off the ground, let us know. We'd love to give you a shout out. Thank you to Michael. Appreciate you. Check out Self Driver. It's a lot of fun. I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
Together we are
The Kings of Kill.
Vibing? Are you dancing?
It's a good movie. I'm still
It
vibing.
was good.
I don't know if I'd want him as my Uber driver, but there's puke in the back seat.
That sucks,
It
dude.
took like 5 minutes to clean that. I've been in an Uber where someone puked, and it sucks. I was not the one that puked. Don't even
Shout
ask
out
me.
to Massive Visual Media. The reason you can see our pretty faces. We were Ubering from a show to my sister's place, and this driver was out of his fucking mind. He was dodging and weaving, speeding and shit, and he was getting nauseous. Like, you got to pull over. And we get to my sister's, her old apartment. We're like, it's super bumpy. We're gonna crash there. And in the second he opens the door, he made it out. Props to him.
That's
He made
like
it out.
our second friend that's projectile vomited, like in the movie.
Projectile. What? Pterodactyl? What'd you say?
Project Vomit.
Is that our movie?
What an idiot.